मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। आती है आंधियाँ तो कर उनको खैर मकदम, आती है आंधियाँ तो कर उनको खैर मकदम, तूफान ही तो डरते खुदा ने तुझे डरा है। मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। अग्नि में दब के सोना है आग भी निखरता, अग्नि में दब के सोना है आग भी निखरता, स्वर्गम को पार करके हिमालय कोई चढ़ाने, लाएगी रंग मेहनत आखिर तुम्हारी किस्मत, लाएगी रंग मेहनत आखिर तुम्हारी किस्मत, होगा विशाल करवट वो बीज जो पड़ा है। ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी हैं, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है।
Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University of Kashmir, Professor Nilufar Khan Ma'am, Worthy Registrar of the University, Dr. Nisar Ahmed Mir Sir, Dean Academic Affairs, Professor F.A. Masoodi Sir, Dean Research, Professor Irshad Nautu Sir, Coordinator, Institute of Home Science, Dr. Humaira Azim Ma'am, the lovely children present here, different able children from White Globe organizations, deans, heads, faculty members of different departments, and dear students. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I wholeheartedly welcome you all on behalf of Institute of Home Science, who in collaboration with National Commission for Women has organized this 2-day national seminar on rights of differently abled women.
This seminar is being organized by Institute of Home Science with collaboration with National Commission for Women, India. National Commission for Women was set up as a statutory body in January 1992 with a mission to strive towards enabling women to achieve equality and equal participation in all spheres of life by securing her due rights and entitlements through suitable policy formulation, legislative measures, effective enforcement of law, implementations of schemes and policies, and devising strategies for solution of specific problems, situations arising out of discrimination and atrocities against women. The vision of National Commission of Women is that the Indian woman should be secure in her home and outside, fully empowered to access all her rights and entitlement with opportunity to contribute equally in all walks of life. Differently abled women are a forgotten agenda of women. Being differently abled is part of being human. Disability can be physical, mental, and intellectual. Girls and women of all ages with any form of disability are among the most vulnerable and marginalized group of society. Despite their significant numbers, they remain hidden and silent. Their concerns are unknown and their rights are unrecognized. Differently abled women carry society's cross on their backs and they face triple discrimination because of being differently abled. Gender and poverty They are commonly stereotyped as such helpless, childlike, dependent, incompetent, asexual, and greatly limiting their opportunities and opinion. They are subject to physical, psychological, sexual, and financial violence, neglect, social isolation, trafficking, degradation and detention, denial of healthcare and forced sterilization and forced psychiatric treatment. They are at high risk of gender-based and other forms of violence based on social stereotypes and biases that attempt to dehumanize them. Violence against them occurs at various spheres, including in the home, the community. The forms of violence to such women are especially girls are subjected to intersectional and multiple discrimination based on their disability. Now, the purpose of this two-day seminar is to interact with differently abled persons in order to identify their physical and psychological problems and make them aware of their rights, to understand the difficulties and challenges of persons with disabilities in the process of inclusion, to aware participants regarding coping strategies to be followed for disabled women, to find the vulnerability, abuse, and violence of differently abled women in rehabilitation centers, and to review the constitutional and legal safeguard of women, which is the main purpose of the seminar. We have 52 paper presentations from across the country, from Aligarh Muslim University, Osmania University, Lady Irwin College, Delhi University, Jammu University, Kashmir University, and Darbhanga College, plus 20 poster presentations. We have 8 technical sessions in all, and resource persons are lawyers, NGOs, doctors, and differently abled women who will speak about their experiences. Although some progress has been made in improving the status of women in general, disabled women have remained a largely ignored group. They lack access to legal protection and representation as law enforcement mechanisms. Legal legislations are all well equipped to address their issues, but they are not implemented. Thank you.
It is a moment of pleasure today, to be honest with you, because we always talk about the seminars where we talk about the women only. But we have not seen that within women there are again certain underprivileged groups, disadvantaged groups about whom we are not talking. We are always talking that women are being discriminated, but we see that within women, whether they are disabled, whether they are unemployed, whether they are illiterate, they are again being subject to discrimination. And coming to the topic of women with certain handicaps or with differently abled women, we see that as per the world statistics, what we see in the form of books, we see almost 300 million women in the world are at present disabled, whether that is psychological, that is physical, that is mental, that is orthopedic, that is visual, or different kinds of disability which women face during their life. So 300 million figure is a huge figure at the world level. Normally we see that we talk of the gender equality, we talk even of the gender neutrality, if not equality. But when we see that the discrimination which are being faced or the issues which are being faced by the women with disabilities, they are enormous. We see that different fields, whether they are working or whether they are non-working, both at workplace we see they are facing difficulties, at home they are facing difficulties. They have talked, Humayra ji has already talked about the different issues which they are facing. They are facing the issues of upbringing, they are facing the issues of health, they are facing then the issues of education, then they are facing the issues of employment, and again at the employment we see they are facing the issues of at the workplace, they are facing new types of issues. So today's seminar, which is a critical seminar in a view that we talk about within women, we talk about the disabled or differently abled women. So I hope that today's seminar will throw light on the issues which women face at the workplace or at the home place. We see that there are issues at home as well as outside home which they face. I hope that in today's seminar we will see that whatever the issues these women face, it will be brought into limelight, and we will, at our level at workplace, we take some rectifying measures. For example, Humara ji identified the place that we don't have a ramp, though we have on the right side up, but we should have on the front side also. But we don't have a ramp to come on the stage. That is also an issue. So these are issues which the women face at the workplace. Very recently, we have started the biometric attendance system in University of Kashmir. But again, there are, though in faculty I doubt we have any woman faculty member with disability in the University of Kashmir. But we do have few non-teaching employees, women non-teaching employees who are disabled. And while going for the biometric, one among the lady came to me that first it is difficult to reach to the upper floor where the registrar sits. So somehow she came, there is a lift in our new administrative block, and she was saying that I cannot go up to the level where we have to go for the biometric attendance. So these are simple issues which the disability, whether male or female, but when we talk of the female disability woman, so these are the minor issues which we don't look into even. I had not even dreamt that a woman or a disabled person, how as a registrar I should have taken certain preemptive measures regarding that, but which I have not taken earlier. So my point of view is that when a disabled woman, because she faces a lot of issues at home also, because we as a patriarchal society we say that women have to make the bread at the home. She has to go for the domestic labor, what we call in sociological terms also. So the disabled woman, she has to face again lot of issues at domestic front at home. When she has to attend office, she has to again face a lot of issues at the office workplace also. So hopefully during the seminar we will discuss such things, and I hope that, because at different levels we see that though it has been researched at different level, it has come in books also, but we see that when it comes to the local level, there are certain local specific issues which need to be dealt with, whether it is the sociology department, whether it is social work department, whether it is the women and gender studies, or whether it is the home science department, which need to look into the local issues of the woman, because it is locally specific. There are certain different issues at our own level. So I hope that the department, if we have to support such type of research, I would request Honorable Vice Chancellor to keep some seed money for such type of small or minor, what we call minor research projects, where such type of issues can be highlighted and brought into the limelight. We at the University of Kashmir, we all know that we have kept reservation, whether it is the admission policy, whether it is the recruitment policy of the state government. We do follow in both of them. We see a good number of disabled, whether it is male or female, at the university campus who are seeking admission. But to be honest with you, we do have to go a long way to address their issues.
The basic objective of creation of mankind, it was not to decorate this universe. There are other creatures, innumerable number of plants, animals, which decorate this universe. The purpose of our creation was something different, to have respect for each other, respect for those values. Once we lose focus of this, the purpose of our creation, we cease to be probably humans. Once we lose this focus. Having said that, it's not, we have to treat the whole mankind with dignity. with value, with respect, or to put it in a different way, we should treat them the way we want, that we should be respected, we should be treated in the society. So they need to be treated that way, irrespective of caste, creed, color, ability, intellectual potential or so. अल्लामा इकबाल के ये सुनहरी अल्फाज मुझे याद आते हैं, दर्द उल्फत जिंदगी के वास्ते अक्सीर है, खाक के पुतले इसी जौहर से इंसान हो गए. अक्सीर, अक्सीर means life saving. If we lose focus of this aksir, if we lose focus of having good will for each other, understanding each other's problems, we cease to be humans. Probably there are 4 components in our constitution. The constitution which has its roots in human rights. So it has 4 constituents, 4 components which directly pertain to the problems of people with different abilities. But somehow, unfortunately, the disabled women, it has been somehow missed there. It's usual. All constitutions in the world or laws in the world, they are subjected to transformation depending on needs, depending on requirements. The law which may be relevant today, after 20 years, it may not be relevant. There can be different types of reasons for that. The requirements of that society may change. Accordingly, we may have to bring changes in those laws. Or it can be our understanding of the things can improve. Our wisdom can improve. Accordingly, we have to bring improvements in those laws. So probably it was somewhere in 1995 that the law for persons with disabilities, it came into existence. But again, as I told you, the component or the concerns of disabled women were not discussed the way, were not addressed there, the way they needed to be addressed there. And then United Nations Convention for Persons with these disabilities that took place somewhere in 2006, and India did ratify the resolution of that convention. It's after that we started thinking very seriously about women with disabilities. Different problems, or any problem, we have to see its different dimensions. We have to see its social dimension, we have to see its legal dimension, and of course we have to see its scientific and technological dimensions as well. And you will be surprised. So in terms of legislation, we are taking care of legislative measures which people with different abilities which they require. So that way the legislation is getting matured, it's getting strengthened. But you will be surprised, problems of disabled women are of that magnitude which really are disturbing for all of us. In different parts of the world, you will be surprised to know that forced sterilization, it is still being practiced in many parts of the world. And some people who advocate that forced sterilization, they give some different theories that this is just to, say, avoid the outcomes of those rapes which are, to which these differently abled women are subjected to, or they give different types of those reasons. But United Nations have clearly mentioned about it that it is to be such types of acts need to be banned immediately. And similarly, people with disabilities, once we expand, once we see different definitions of disability have been given by different organizations, United Nations too have given, probably Human Rights Watch, they too have given some definitions of these disabilities. And a debate is going on nowadays that should infertility be considered in disability or not. And you see the people, infertility, it can be from both sides. Just see we come across such situations of infertility and major that social that trauma, it gets concentrated only on one side. So these are the things which all of us, social scientists as well as the legal luminaries, should join hands and help our government agencies, propose to our government agencies what needs to be rectified or this needs to be seriously thought about. Is our legislative framework adequate to tackle such types of problems? So I think these things will be deliberated on upon in detail. And secondly, I don't claim any authority on the subject. My subject is different, but the advantage which we have in the Institute of Home Science, we have diversity in academics. You will find social sciences there, you will find subjects related to biological sciences also there. That's why once we sit with our colleagues, we learn these small things, and which makes us in a position to just say a few words before this August gathering. With these words, I wish good luck to all of you. Thank you very much.
The differently abled as a whole is a broad term, and since I have been involved in the many capacities, this issue has been under my vision for almost last 30 years now. When we talk about disabled, be it women or men folk, this is a concern throughout the world, and where we as academicians should play a vital role in highlighting as to what we can actually try to lift in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their concept, and try to give them a proper vision that they will feel at par with us. In almost every institution, we have seen that there is a special quota for physically handicapped, that is the category they label that, for admissions and other different processes. But when we look at the acceptance of that quota, when we look at the vision of that quota, perhaps it's not at par with what the vision of these physically handicapped or disabled women or men should be. I have been involved as Director Admissions in the University of Kashmir for almost 5 long years, and I have seen that when they apply, we look at the percentage of disability, and in that doctors mention that the disability is about 40%, only then we consider them. And at that time there is no special concession for women or men, it's a general concept. But when we look at the educational system as to how we can play a role, we should try to in turn discuss the issues with not only the academic sections as such, but also with the community as a whole, especially with the parental community. Usually we have seen that parents don't accept the disability of their children. They actually try to highlight that this is a minor disability and we can in turn be able to help her or him to take care of his overall profile as such. But in such cases, we have to accept that these disabilities are an inborn problems, and we have to play a role. I'll just quote an example. I am from a subject that is mainly oriented to field work. One of my PhD scholars, namely, she's at present now Dr. Asima Anjum. She was physically handicapped, and when she applied for PhD and she approached my lab, said, "Sir, I want to work in your field." I told her, "Beta, I am working on herbal medicine, that's a field-oriented work. Majority of the medicine plants are available in the field. Can you be able to go?" She had a problem in her left leg. She told me, "Sir, this is my choice, I want to work." And I told her, "Beta, just think about it for about 10-15 days and then give me in writing that once you're selected, I draft a problem for you that you will be able to do that work." She came back after only 1 week, gave me in writing, "Sir, whatever problem is assigned to me for my PhD, I'll be able to not only work in the field, but also in the lab, irrespective of what sort of problem I will face." And I allotted her a medicinal plant, and she had to work on both field-oriented as well as lab-oriented chemical profiling. And she said that, "Sir, I need only one support, somebody should accompany me when I visit the field." I told her, "No problem. I don't depute the students individually, I depute them in the form of a group." And within a span of 4.5 years, she completed her PhD, wherein major part of the work was field-oriented. She had a problem in her left leg, and despite that, Dr. Asma Anjum is at present recruited as an assistant professor, and she is working again in the same way in which she worked for the research. Now imagine, concept was in her mind and I had to play a role. I could have said no because I am working on field-oriented themes. I could have said no, but she convinced me, and she had the guts to convince me, and I also got convinced that she can work. That is where we have to actually play a role in trying to assess what sort of physical disabilities or abilities are faced by our progenies, our students, and how we as teachers, how we as sponsors, as supervisors can play a role in helping them to draft their own plans and achieve the goals. Ordinarily, it is not impossible to say that she cannot do this work because she has a disability. But if we assess her profile, assess her theme, assess her caliber, irrespective of what sort of physical problem she is facing or what sort of other problems she is facing, if she is able to convince her, we are also able to support her, we will be able to play an important role. And in that, not individual teachers, not individual students, but a community as a whole has to play a role. We have to actually get convinced that such disabled people, especially women folk, can actually be at par with us in terms of whatever problems are allotted to them to compile data, they can do it. Where obviously my research theme is, I always quote, nothing is impossible. Whenever I allot a problem to any scholar, they feel that within a span of 1 month, sir, it's very difficult. My theme always is, nothing is impossible, you can do it. And for these disabled girl students also have the same theme. If any person who has all the abilities at the beginning says that, sir, it is not possible to do it, but ultimately he or she is able to do it. Same way, whosoever is facing any physical disability can take a span of time to understand what the problems are, how she can be able to get convinced that she can do it, what sort of support she is being provided, what sort of support she is in need of, discusses the issues with the sponsors or with the supervisors or with the teachers or with family members. They can provide support, they can provide guidelines, and she can achieve the goals. When we have such an attitude to actually play a sponsoring role, play a guide role, play a role wherein we are able to convince her that nothing is impossible, she will do it. But in the beginning, if we say that she has this sort of a problem, physical problem or health problem as such, she cannot do it. That means we are initially initiating the negative concept in her mind. If we convince her in the beginning that this is possible, she can do it, obviously she will in turn also think in the same ways. Otherwise, if I as a teacher, I as a supervisor or as a partner cannot be able to convince her that she can do it, it is not possible that we can achieve the goals. I hope that during this deliberation, whatever presentations are made, we are able to convince the members in the audience who are basically having some sort of physical problem that they can do it. Our lecture should not be simply to express our opinion, but should be able to convince them, yes, they can do it. Yes, they are at par with us in terms of their caliber. Otherwise, if we simply deliver lectures, discuss issues without convincing them, I don't think the seminar will bear a theme. Seminar will bear a fruit for the participants who are actually trying to get convinced that they can do it. In research themes, in any lectures that we actually try to convince a particular audience what sort of problems they are facing, we must be able to play a role of not only as a sort of a guide, but also as a partner. That if he or she has a physical problem, I can be a supportive partner with her or with him. And that will automatically convince her that she can do it and she can achieve the goal. I hope during these presentations, whosoever delivers lectures, whosoever tries to elaborate as to what his or her theme is, it is better to try to relate that with the audience where we have some members who are facing such problems. If we convince them in the audience, that will help them to understand, yes, they are at par with us. We have no physical problem, no health problem. They have problems, but they are at par with us because we are able to convince them. Hope such deliberations can actually bear a fruit. Hope and pray the deliberation will bear a fruit, and I am sure that all the participants will get convinced that such seminars or such workshops are actually part of the theme wherein we can convince physically disabled people that they are at par with us in terms of their caliber also. I wish that all the participants who are actually deliberating different issues can achieve the goals that they have drafted. Thank you very much.
First of all, I congratulate the coordinator of Institute of Home Science and all the organizers of Institute of Home Science and students and research scholars and our All India Women's Commission with whose collaboration this particular seminar is being organized. That it's a very well thought of theme. Every 10th of October globally, it's a World Differently Abled Day, and there could not have been better theme than this, on which today and tomorrow I could see lots of business will be deliberated. And as Professor Irshad, our Dean Research said, please come up with these specific recommendations, because recommendations of this seminar mean a lot. He was talking about awareness and advocacy in his speech, and I very much do agree that awareness and advocacy are two main tools where we should definitely try to deliberate regarding against the social stigma, which is the main hindrance pertaining to any whether it's academic pursuance, whether it's any other development of our differently able. One of the main things which we have to tackle is the social stigma. And when our registrar was talking about the facilities of differently abled on the campus, when I was DSW, we created a special cell in the Department of Students Welfare. I am happy Professor Anisa ji is very serious about this cell. She has taken lots of initiatives to make it more active. And I'm sure in due course of time, all the issues that are pertaining to the differently abled students, Professor Irshad talked, something about it. I'm happy that in this seminar we have all key office bearers at the administrative setup of our university who are here. And I'm sure they'll be much more aware by being in this seminar. And together we'll try to make things more easier for them. I can see, as Professor Irshad and other speakers said, that what's important is the training and confidence that we build in these students. I am witness when we build their confidence and we try to provide them some type of facilities. Nothing is no for them and nothing is impossible for them. They can do it and do it very successfully. I have seen myself as DSW how intelligent and hardworking our differently abled students are, and how they participate not only in academic activities but also in the extracurricular activities. Mr. Sultan is one of them. He used to work so hard in our specially abled cell. For the information of the audience, Mr. Sultan is pursuing his PhD. And I must tell, our Dean Research, it was over and above. This seat was over and above. I initiated, Professor Riaz Punjabi late. He pursued it, and Vora Saab was Chancellor of the university that time. He approved it and he got the admission, and I'm sure he must be at the verge of compiling now, and we all should celebrate it when he submits his thesis. And he works on the computer, he writes with his foot, and he's got such a good writing when he puts down in his words, and he's no less than anyone. He's got full confidence, And definitely, there are some of the similar cases in our university. Given the opportunity and given the best ambience and the working atmosphere, I don't think so. Nothing is impossible. With these words, I would definitely like Institute of Home Science to further work on this particular theme. Institute of Home Science has always provided platform not only to solve the various issues, it's provided platform for the creation of a gender studies center, and Professor Masoodi will agree with me for our food science technology department. And wherever in the university any departments work, that's for the upliftment of the society and of course for the visibility of our particular university. I would definitely like, as Professor Masoodi pointed out about the Department of Law, I can see some of the deliberations are there, but for differently abled, whether boys or girls, men or women, kindly collaborate all the departments, whether it's women's studies, whether it's social work, sociology, home science, Department of Law, so that we come out with the definite recommendations and it makes a change. And I would definitely like my registrar in a time-bound manner, particularly about our hostels, then departments, and about our various venues where such academic discourses and the programs are being conducted. We have to be sensitive and try to provide the facilities. Inshallah, I will look into it personally also, and inshallah next time we'll try to see that we have facility for our differently abled students to enter this hall. Although there's in the side, over here there's a ramp. I remember it was created when I was DSW, but definitely there should be one in the front. With these words, once again, I congratulate the coordinator and the program organizers, All India Women's Commission, for organizing this particular program, this particular seminar. And I'm sure for these 2 days, I can see lots of deliberations are there. Seriously, it will be taken, and I'm looking forward for the recommendation so that we can work in the gray areas where we have to work. Thank you very much.